Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 20th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery with Doppler radar overlay. You can see the light precipitation moving across much of the area. However, there are a few thunderstorms here right off the southwest Oregon coast. Do not be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder with that across places like Brookings, Oregon, and even across Washington, Oregon, Idaho as we go through the day today. There is an outside chance of a lightning strike, but this low pressure center is going to remain with us here for the next few days, probably all the way in through Thursday for some areas, and then we turn our eyes to the northwest flow and the big pattern change. Much colder air aloft will be arriving into the Pacific Northwest. Confidence definitely increasing. We'll go over those details as we go through the video this morning. Now here we go, the North American model. There's our low pressure center right off the coastline there. You can see it sitting and spinning, eventually moving up north, continuing some of the slight precipitation. Hopefully we can tease a few inches of snow for the higher terrain with this one, and then eventually it starts to fill as we go through Wednesday, but you can see the precipitation hanging all the way on in through Thursday for many areas. Then by the end of the run here at 60 hours, you can see the cutoff low off the coast of California. Then our eyes turn to the pattern change incoming. And this is actually, let's look at day one thunderstorm outlook. It does include some portions of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, but you can't 100% rule one out across some of western Washington and Oregon also, especially across southwest Oregon. You saw the thunderstorm activity was getting pretty close to the coastline. This is looking at 80-meter wind speed. So this is the North American model again. You can see the winds picking up across the southern Oregon coast today, moving up the Oregon coast. Breezy for the Willamette Valley as we go through tonight. Low pressure center meanders up the coastline here and brings some blustery conditions for the Washington coast, the Puget Sound, and some of the northwest interior as we go on through Wednesday night as well. That low pressure system weakens. And then we got that cutoff low off the coast of California. And then we start to look at the pattern change, which we'll look at here in a moment. And if you want a nice, affordable home weather station, it's always much more fun to watch the weather roll in when you've got a weather station attached to your place of residence. Click on that link down below to save 10%. This is the GFS, hot off the presses ensemble mean. There's our low pressure center weakening off our coastline. Cutoff low for California. Ridge starts to drop back out over the Pacific and really allows this polar lobe to take a swing at the Pacific Northwest. Dynamic system driving through British Columbia, through Alberta. Strong onshore flow, lots of cold air aloft, big mountain snowmaking potential as we go on in through next week. Now taking a look at the European, this is yesterday afternoon's run here. So there's our low pressure system weakening. Cutoff low for California. Really good model agreement on that ridge backing up and the polar lobe just taking a swing at the Pacific Northwest. Again, another dynamic system rolling in. Strong onshore flow. You could get big westerly surges down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, big mountain snows, and the European wants to keep things active all the way in through the end of February into early March as well, keeping things pretty chilly and some interesting systems rolling through the area. Now, this is one example here. This is looking at the European. There's our weak low fills, cutoff low for California. I want to show you that northwest flow. Look at this low that drops down through BC and Alberta. Strong pressure gradient, strong onshore flow, lots of cold air aloft, just slamming back into the mountain ranges. One of the great setups here for big mountain snows across the higher terrain of Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, and even across the Rocky Mountains, Idaho, Montana as well. And BC getting its share of snow out of this also if that were to occur. Now looking at the European 100-meter wind speed. So I want to also show you this one again. We're looking at the low pressure center spinning over the next few days and blustery winds with that and the cutoff low for California. But I want to show you the onshore flow that would be arriving with this pattern change. Check this out. Look at some of these winds blasting down across the area. It'd be some big gusty winds across much of the region here. Pretty good windstorm rolling in here. You know, strong onshore flow. You'd be getting some big gusts down the Strait of Juan de Fuca into Whidbey Island with this setup as well. Strong winds across Idaho, Montana, BC, and Alberta also ushering in this very cold air mass. Now let's look at 700 millibars, 10,000 feet. I always like to show the diagrams of what's going on above us in the atmosphere. There's Alaska, BC, Washington, and Oregon. Put this into motion and you'll see the cutoff low coming to sit off the coast of California there. And then you can clearly see the northwest flow arriving as we start to go through Friday on into Saturday. You'll really start to see it driving down as we go through the day, Saturday night, and then really engulfing the Pacific Northwest as we go on in through next week there. And then we start to get some model disagreement. Notice that the GFS spills a lot of its cold air out over the Gulf of Alaska, and the European keeps it closer to the coastline here. This would definitely be a warmer, more southwest flow versus what the European has. So we'll work out those details over the next few days. And I scroll all the way ahead here, and you can see that polar lobe just kind of carving out across Pacific Northwest. This is last night's European. European run here. This would be about Sunday afternoon, really driving that cold air down across the region. This is the parent temperature. So something interesting here. We're going to be going through some normal temperatures here over the next few days. I mean, it'll be cloudy and light precipitation off and on, but watch what comes here as we go. I'm going to go through the weekend here, and as we go through Sunday morning, you can really see that colder air start to arrive here and sink down across the area. This takes into account wind chill, but you can definitely see the pattern change upcoming here as we go on in through the weekend into early next week. So you're going to feel it out there. It's going to be notable. I mean, look at including the wind chill. You're talking about some temperatures down in the 20s. There is a slight chance of some lower elevation snowfall, but right now the signal is not strong enough to be talking about that in any kind of detail right now. The odds are still quite low. You know, it's not the best setup for lower elevation snowfall. It is a great setup right now for mountain snowfall, however, but we will be watching that over the next few days and kind of exploring that option as we go. More on that tomorrow. This is total snow in inches. So here we go with the next few days with that weak low meandering off our coastline, hopefully dropping a few inches of snowfall for the higher terrain. And then we start to scroll off towards this weekend. You can see by Sunday morning, look at that. Look at that snow just start to pile up here. Just an absolute beast of a snow machine flying back into the Pacific Northwest here. So hopefully this forecast holds and we don't have any changes upcoming here, folks, because look at this amount of snowfall. Would catch us back up to average for many locations here. And I'll show you the SNOTEL, what we're at right now so far this year. And you can kind of see it does show a little bit of some snowfall potentially getting down to some of the lower elevations, but we'll worry about that. We have plenty of time to watch that. Any kind of speculation on that right now is going to be, you know, it's not worth much. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook as we go through February 29th, below average for much of the West Coast, 8 to 14 day, no change all the way through March 4th. And look at some of these. I mean, the Olympic Mountains only about a third of what they normally have this time of year, and much of Washington State is not doing very well at all. So we really need this pattern change here so we can build up this snowpack. Oregon's not doing too bad, below average for many areas, but just slightly so. And this bump and this pattern change comes would definitely be welcome. Northern Idaho not doing hot also. Better across southern portions here, but this would really help things out across Idaho also. So yeah, BC would need the snowfall as well. We will definitely take it, especially during an El Nino year. So looking forward to that. It's going to be fun to watch this pattern change evolve and see if we do have any chance at all for some lower elevation snowfall. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to have snow levels drop down towards 2,000 feet, 1,500 feet or something like that. But lower elevation snowfall, of course, is much more difficult to get. And it's too far out right now to speculate on it. And right now, the signal is not strong for lower elevation snowfall. So we'll just kind of monitor that over the next few days. Just kind of want to throw that out there. And kind of, I've seen some of the hype forecasts out there a little bit in social media, and you just kind of want to pump the brakes on that a little as we go. So we'll watch that over the next few days. We'll continue to explore that potential, but right now, you know, it's too far out. So anyway, I hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We will do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.